Hey there, Scorpio Sun, Scorpio Moon, Scorpio Rising. Welcome to your bonus reading for basically the next 4 weeks while the Sun is in Aquarius. All right. So I'm laughing because I went to go do your reading when I first got started this morning. I thought I need more caffeine to do your reading. So you actually ended up being the last one I'm doing today. And I hope I have enough caffeine still because, wow. All right, you guys, look, you have the base chakra that came out with forgiveness, the heart chakra. So the base chakra, it is stability. It is being grounded. It is very earthy. It is about knowing that you have a right to exist and be where you are. It's feeling connected in, and it's feeling like you have the power and the ability to manifest what it is that you need. You feel safe, you feel loved, you feel nurtured. You have the basic needs are being met, and it comes with this card of forgiveness. And so this is in the heart chakra. And I don't know if you could see it, but there's a rainbow here, and she's blowing on a dandelion. So lots of things are coming through on that. It says here, letting go, healing, growth, and compassion. So this is, you don't get a rainbow unless there's been a storm. And you guys have been in a storm, the South Node moving through your sign, churning up so many things, bringing it up to the surface to be released like blowing on a dandelion, those seeds of intention going out there and being dispersed. And so it's almost like allowing the stuff to come up and then be released. We have a full moon coming up in Leo very shortly here on the 5th of February. And so there's a chance to release with that also. Venus is going to spend from June 6th until October 10th in Leo because she does a big retrograde there. And so there's this energy around what you set out now, what you release out during this time. Venus will have a chance to propagate it during that as an opportunity to grow something big and strong for you. We've got Caryn in conjunction, not exact conjunction until around the 6th, right after that full moon, with Jupiter in Aries, which is all about healing and expanding the energy of the inner child. And you have the card of rose quartz, the inner child. And so this forgiveness is around, wow, okay, feeling, oh, ooh. All right, so Scorpio, this is around feeling like you weren't worthy of love as a child. For many of you. This can't be everybody's story. This is always why we check out our sun, moon, rising, but I'm going to go with what they're bringing me. Oh, and it really hurts in the heart space. Okay. So, it feels like abandonment issues. Like, I wasn't lovable enough for my parent to be there the way I wanted my parent to be there. So maybe your parent had a job where they traveled a lot. Or maybe your parent had their own, they're showing me alcoholism and drug addiction. So they may have physically been there, but they were not there. They were not nurturing you. They were not caring for you. They were not making sure you were safe and secure and felt stable. You did not. It feels like childhood where the safety and the security, the financial stability, and the sense that you were loved enough for somebody to show up for you wasn't available to you, or at least you didn't perceive that it was. And so this forgiveness isn't about forgiving them. When we're children, we tend to think very myopically and very much like everything is about us, right? That's our world. And so it wasn't that you thought your parent, when you were a small child, maybe as you progressed in age, middle school, high school was different. But as a small child, when these woundings take place, in those very formative sponge-like years, the ones that influence our own sense of self-worth, self-esteem, self-value, those years, it's like, why doesn't my parent love me enough to show me love? What's wrong with me? What did I do wrong? How am I wrong? How can I be better? If I'm really good, then they should love me. And so we start trying to impress them, or twist ourselves into pretzels, or we become the caregivers. All of this because we just want their time and attention. And so this is about forgiving yourself for quote unquote not being enough, because that was never the issue in the first place. And the reason your parents were going through that was probably because as children, they didn't think they were enough, and it was just something that progressed. And so when we're at this big change, inflection point in the history right now, that's why it's so chaotic and messy. It's because we're transitioning into new energy. And what we don't want to do is take forward into this new energy that old crap. We want a clean slate. And you start by giving the clean slate to yourself. And so when you forgive yourself for quote unquote not being enough, because really that was never the issue. When you forgive yourself for any perceived mistakes, whatever, for being human. When you offer yourself the love, the nurture, the caring that you should have received, but for whatever reason you were not brought to it, and I can go even deeper with this. But we choose our family situation before we incarnate. We already know what's going to happen, at least in those first few years. We know what we're dropping into. And we're like, oh, I can do that because that will grow my soul. And you get here and you're like, what the hell was I thinking? This is really hard. So forgive yourself for thinking you could handle it without any problem. You're fine. It is through the act of forgiveness that you actually do the work that you came here to do. Because you came here to heal. You have the card of the healer and the inner child. And over the course of this next 3 weeks, Venus is going to be in Pisces, where she's all about let's forgive. Let's forgive. She wants to sprinkle forgiveness like it's confetti. So roll in it, play in it, heal your own inner self. Wow, I wish you could see the stone. I'm going to try to get really close with it, but it looks like stars. Look at that. It looks like galaxies. Your heritage is not just of this world. You're a star being. But you're here on earth to do important things and to grow and to learn. And the greatest thing we learn is how to forgive. That is the closest thing we get to divinity, is our ability to see the light in everyone. And we can't see the light in others if we don't see it in ourselves first. We have to see it in ourselves first, because what we see about ourselves is our perception of everybody else. How we perceive ourselves is reflected out into the world, and that's what we draw and attract back to us. It's like attracts like. And so in this energy of what's being reflected back to us, when we forgive ourselves, when we love ourselves, when we recognize that we were totally worthy of love, always were and always will be, then the universe starts reflecting back to us through situations and people and relationships, things that support the fact that you're completely, totally lovable because you're made of love. Rose quartz, the inner child. And so great healing energy is coming in. Pluto, that rules your sign, gets into Aquarius March 24th or something like that. And so he is shifting energy about what he wants to transform. And so while he's still in this earth sign, and he's going to dip in and out for the next 2 years, it is a chance to really completely, through the integration process of always when the south node moves to the next sign, that is the integration process for you, and that takes about 2 years, and that's this dipping point. So really, between now and 2024 is this integration of this total healing of the shedding of the skin. And when we shed skin, we're vulnerable. It's new, and it's scary. And you're being asked not to armor up, but to remain vulnerable and open to new opportunities. You have your gift to others, treasure life and all its magic. This Lady of the Lost has shown up so many times in so many of these readings. I did half of these last week and then half this week, and today half of them had that show up, but I think it also showed up last week. Oh, I already did that. Lady of the Lost. This is where you find yourself. And you find yourself in your sense of self-value, self-worth, self-esteem, and knowing that you're worthy of love. And just because you didn't get what you needed as a small child doesn't mean you don't give it to yourself now. Absolutely 100% you do. You give it to yourself. And it is in giving it to yourself that it gets reflected back to you. Whoa! What a Scorpio card. You have the alligator, right? Oh, tough. And able to submerge and observe right there at the edge of the water what's going on. Masking, watching, observing, moving quickly when you need to. Very stealthy. Very much immersed in the emotional waters. And it's muddy, right? The waters there are muddy. How do you clear that energy out? How do you make things more clear? How do you open yourself up, the underbelly, to where you're vulnerable? It's the card of 50. That's a 5. That's change, but that 0 is the egg of unlimited possibilities. It's the egg of opportunity. It's the cosmic egg to grow something. And this forgiveness here is 23, and 2 plus 3 is a 5. So it's about change. So the 1 of the base chakra, initiation, initiate change. And from this change then comes great opportunity. The powerful gift of the alligator medicine is to fully appreciate and integrate all that life offers. I told you, you're in an integration process. And you're going to be in it for a couple of years. Because you had some deep stuff that needed to be brought up and healed. Gator shows us the value of thoroughly digesting both the pleasures and the pains of life. In many ways, the alligator medicine is reflected in its behavior. When the gator rolls under the water with its prey, its message is to roll with the punches when being attacked by life's circumstances. Carefully storing its prey under a log until the meat is tender teaches us about patience and proper timing. Choosing to laugh when tangled in your own seriousness can immediately diffuse the stranglehold of anger and judgment, self-importance, and inflexibility. Once your rigidity is removed, you are free to again integrate the present set of circumstances, finding what you may have formerly overlooked. Then you can learn the gator's lesson on how to digest the value of any life lessons. Gator medicine people refrain from passing judgment until they've examined all the facts and seen all the sides of any situation. It may be time to drop opinions and judgments so that the present situation can be fully understood. That's the forgiveness. Because when we can forgive, that's when we drop judgments, right? We no longer feel the need to judge things. There's a need to accept things for what they are, and then to look for the gifts that are hidden in it, the lessons. Avoid getting stuck in the duality and the quagmire of the human judgment game. Use calm resolve, review your healing process and life lessons, integrating growth that you have attained. In all cases, Gator is telling you something may have escaped your perception and asks you what viewpoint or possibility did you not factor into your assessment. Did the missing piece of the puzzle keep you from having an accurate overview of what is now occurring? If so, it is never too late to reevaluate the situation from a more integrated and flexible point of view. So again, the inner child. The South Node going through your sign has brought things to the surface for you to look at, non-judgmentally, and from a different perspective in order to do the healing work. Gator's eyes and nostrils are often the only parts of the body above the water. While it senses its surroundings, the gator integrates all probabilities before it makes its move. I'm telling you, such a Scorpio card. That is totally Scorpio energy. I love it. I might have to change the little icon that I use from the snake. Well, maybe not the snake, but maybe from the eagle to the gator. That's so wow. I love it. I really love it. Oh, you guys have, oh, okay, it's this one. I believe it's going to be this one. Let me just make sure. Is it in here? No, it was this one. Okay. So, your ancestors. I called them in before we started the reading. Here's the message from your ancestors. Dear Scorpio, human beings spend a huge percentage of life asleep, and not just in bed, but the kind where you forget you are a spiritual, immortal being taking on a temporary human form. It is not your fault. Everyone suffers from spiritual amnesia once in a while. As you develop an identity and ego, you begin to see through the eyes of the small self and have less connection to your soul self. You may not recognize this is going on, but you sure can feel it. We are here to remind you to look through your soul's eyes and see the magic in everywhere. Your soul's eyes, those gator eyes that observe everything. Observe this, right? Observe this. That you are a spark of the divine. Observe that, okay? All right, so infinite potential lies in spirit, who is teaming with you to fulfill the contract you made to contribute to the evolution of the whole world. Wake up and remember that all the help you need is orchestrated in the invisible realms. Your mind is in alignment with divine intelligence, is unstoppable. The world is yours to co-create. You are so loved, and we are all behind you. That's a beautiful message, Scorpio. You have one more eclipse. It comes on the 5th, on Cinco de Mayo, the 5th of May. It is a chance to really let this stuff go. Do the work. Do the work. It's worth it. It's worth it. Do the work and then begin the integration. But you can start integrating now. That's part of it. All right. I'm on Facebook every day, and your readings each week come out on Sundays, Eastern Time Zone, US. And next week we're going to take a look at that full moon in Leo. That's going to be a big one. All right. I will talk to you guys. Take good care.